Hello guys, and welcome to another video. So today what I want to do is use a new programming language to solve an interview problem. So I randomly went on hackerrank.com and I picked a random question. Alright, so this one is the balance brackets. Alright, and here it says stacks, so it wants us to use stacks. You can go ahead and just put the name on Google search and type in Hackerrank at the end, and you should come up to this question here. So what this question wants us to do is to check the order of open and closed braces and square brackets and so forth, right, to see if they're balanced or not. And this is good, for example, when you're typing a program, it has to make sure that you have the sets of brackets balanced so that your equation is not off, or set of parentheses and so forth, right? But the hard part here is I want to use Kotlin to actually do this. I'm pretty good at Java and C# and some other programming languages like Swift. Alright. However, I have never used Kotlin before, and the best way to learn any programming language is to have some type of program that you want to tackle or some problem, and then you go ahead and find the bits of pieces of the language that you need to make your project work. The idea situation that you're going to know everything about a certain language is absolutely false. Alright, you can be an expert in one language, but you never have time to learn all the features. I think Java has like over 4,000 classes, and nobody knows 4,000 classes. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using Kotlin to solve this problem. So Kotlin was introduced in 2011, if I'm not wrong, and the whole purpose of Kotlin is to use the Java runtime, which is JVM, right? However, they want to clear out the boilerplate code that Java creates, right, to give us something that's a little bit more simpler. So what we're going to do is go to Kotlin.com, right? And just type in Kotlin and go to the first link. So I was here already to see how the website looks, and if you go down here, you can actually try Kotlin online. So we're not going to be using any IDEs for this, but you can use Kotlin with IntelliJ, which I do have installed, Android Studio, which I do have installed, Eclipse, and the standalone compiler, which I don't have installed, but actually I do have Java JDK, so I can easily run this on a text file. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just look at the interfaces here, at least the program that I have here, the sample program. Or what we can do here is go under the try online, and we can see that they actually have a sample program here. Alright, and this is what we're going to be using to actually build this application, or build the program that we're going to be working on today. So all you do is you click run here, and you can see that it actually just brings out hello world, and this is the bare bones. Okay, so we have this problem on Hackerrank here. However, when I start learning programming language, what I want to do first is I go ahead and I would search things like Kotlin loops. Okay, so with the Kotlin loops and the first link here. Okay, so I see that you do have the if statement and you have the if else statements, so that's good. You have the unary statement. Here, when replaces the switch operator. Okay, so now I know that I can't use switch within this programming language. It won't work, or maybe I could, since Java and Kotlin are interchangeable, right? I think I could use a when switch statement probably to work, but it seems sure that when actually works. So if we want to go ahead and nest two statements together, we just put the, okay, so in switch we put this, so this will come in handy. Okay, so next thing I want to do is look at functions. So we have do whiles. Okay, we have val here, which is the constant one. So okay, so that's good. So one more do is go into functions and lambda. So I want to look at functions because we need to create an isBalance function for this problem. I didn't guess my resume. Okay, So what we need to do is we need to create an isBalance function for this. So that's why we need to go ahead and figure that out. So let me go down and see. Okay, so here we have a function, it's private, takes no arguments, and I can see that here this returns a double. Okay, and because you can show it shows it right here. All right, so I think we have enough to start working off of. That took me 5 minutes just to do a bit of research, talk about the problem. Okay, so what we can do here is go back to the IDE, or to my bad, go back to your browser, and let's create a function. Okay, so what we first need is, I don't think we need a private modifier for this. However, we do need the function keyword, at least, and we can give it the isBalanced. All right, all isBalanced, and then we need an argument. So with the argument, if you've ever used Swift before, or JavaScript, I think, yeah, JavaScript does this. That we want to do is we want to give in the type, which is string. Then we want to give in the return type, which is going to be Boolean. I don't think they have any primitive booleans here because it looks like the wrapper class boolean. And then we can just do the open and close brace here. And if I just go ahead and return false, I think that should take off all the errors. Also, we good. Okay, so it just says this is never used, the string here. Okay, so now we have the string. So with any problem, so what we want to do is we want to check if the strings are balanced, right? So what happens if we have an empty string? So an empty string is balanced. So we can say if str dot is empty. I think the since it's using the Java library, the is empty methods should still work. So let's go ahead and return true. All right. Okay. So what do we need next? So we need a stack, right? So I think we can go ahead and just import the stack library. So I'll do java.util.stack, and I think that should work. I don't know if this is okay. Well, it didn't complain about this. I don't know if I took it off. It might. I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna leave it there. You can see here in the sample here that there is no closed semicolon here to actually tell that it's a stop of a statement. So I'm not sure if I should leave that in or not. However, if we go over here, you realize that they don't even have it throughout the program. I haven't seen one with the import statement. So let me see if they have something with import. And nothing that really just stands out. So let me see overview. Nothing about import. Get started. Basic classes. Classes inheritance, blah, 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 blah. Nothing about imports. So I'm going to take my intuition here and say that we don't need this. And what I'm going to do is to test this is to compile the program. Okay, and that works. All right, so we have this function here. Okay, so what we want to do first is we need to create a stack. All right, and to create a stack object, I think you can use the keyword var, which I saw earlier in one of the functions. So var. If you use var, then with the L, this is going to make this a constant, but we don't need that. So what I want to do is create a stack. Okay, so in Java you use the keyword new, but here you don't. All right, and what we want to do is want to pass in a character. All right, so in Java you pass in character, here you just pass in char. All right, that much I know because I was working with Android Studio once and I actually saw some tutorial that used this, so I remember that a list. So we have a char here, and so it's just giving me an error, says never used, warning. Okay, so I think that we should be able. So if we went ahead and looked at our loops, where was it at? Tools, overview basics. I remember exactly what it was. So I'm just gonna go back. Okay. So if we went ahead and look at loops, you see that it actually used the keyword in, which is the same one that C# uses. All right, so we can say for I in some array indices, whatever, right? Okay, so let's figure out this. So I think the array.indices is probably some char array. All right. So what we can do is, let's say for ch and then just convert this to char array, because I think that would still work. So char array. All right. So this is a built-in Java method. Okay, so that works. I'm just gonna compile this. Okay, so that still works. So what we want to first do is we want to check all the characters that are not part of the characters that we're looking for, and this is probably going to take some time. So I'm going to say ch is not equal to, and then we need a close, a open, and I'm just going to copy this. All right, so I don't type too much, and ch is not equal to a close, and if it's not equal to curly brace here, and it's not equal to a close one. So I'm pretty much hard coding this. I don't know how to deal with classes yet, so I could written some class to handle this, but I don't know how to do that yet. I think I could do it in Java, but not on the live playground here. And this is going to be this, and you're gonna have this. Okay. So if it's none of this, if the characters are none of this, we can just go ahead and continue. Okay. So that this should at least work. Okay. So we know that for the next step, we have to figure out where the open, right, brace and close brace should start. So we know that if we find an open brace before a closed brace, then the arrangement is actually wrong, because we need a closed brace first. I mean the open brace first before a closed brace. So the closed brace shouldn't come first if the stack is empty. Okay. So we're going to say if char equal to an open brace, right, and the stack is empty, then we have an illegal string. All right. So what I'm gonna do here is copy this, and I'm just gonna use or here, and we do the same thing for the curly brace, and here. All right. And so we have any of these situations, then we know that this is going to be false, so we can just go ahead and return false. I know this question is supposed to be like a medium question, but if you've already dealt with something like infix, postfix, then this becomes really easy to do. And this is the reason why it's easier for me to just talk about this problem so casually. It's something that I've probably dealt with before, and it was probably more elegant than what I'm going to do here. My problem to see is how small can I make this program using Kotlin. So let's go back to playground here. Okay, so what I want to do next is we want to put the char, right, into if we find a open one, we have to put that in the stack. So what we need to do is use a switch statement. So remember, we saw that when replaces switch, and we can pass in ch here. Okay, so what we want to do, so when we find an open, right, or we find a close, I don't know why, I mean an open brace, or we find this. Okay, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and push that into the stack. So we're going to do stack dot push. and we're going to push in ch. All right, and this is it for this part here. Okay, so next thing is if you find an open brace, we have to pick at the top. So remember that if we have some string like this, we have an open brace like this, right? So if we find if the closed brace is put into the stack, the open brace is put into the stack. When we find the closed brace, we can pop the open, but the open has to be the topmost one. Okay, so if we have a string like this, all right, so we have a string. This is a legal string, right? So what happens is that when we find this, we put this into the stack. When we find this, we put this into the stack. And when we find this, the topmost one in the stack has to be the open bracket, the open square bracket. So we can pop this off, and then when we find this, we pop that off. So this is the right order. All right. So what we need to do is use another one, which is not switch statement. All right. Okay. So how do we handle this? So let's go back here. Okay, I see. So here they have an if statement that returns A or else returns B. So I think this might do. Oh, here, so this might do. Yeah, this is actually gonna work for us. So if we find the topmost one, all right, equals to the brace, we can just go ahead and pop it. Else we can just return false. So that this is gonna work. So let's try that out. Okay, so we can say case. So let's say we found open brace, right? What I want to do is we're going to say if stack dot pick equal to, and this time we want to go ahead and close it off, right? So we need we want to pop the open square bracket, right? So what we're going to do is we can just, so it says A else B, so we can do stack dot pop, all right, and then else we can return false if that's not true. All right, so let's just copy this, and we have to do this for all three cases, and this is why I think this is not that elegant. I don't know why this is. All right, and then do the same thing for the curly brace. All right, and then we need the same for the last one. All right, so we have that and this. Okay. All right, I think we're almost done with this. All right, so now we can just go ahead here instead of returning false. We can return stack that is empty. So at the end of it, we would make sure that the stack is empty, right? So we can return stack that is empty. Okay, so now that we have this, what we can do is let's take this off here. So okay, it looks fine to me. The thing is that it's not throwing us an error, so that's a good thing. It's not throwing us an error, so we know that at least the syntax to run the Kotlin program is right. Okay, so now let's test this in here. So we need to use the println method, and so let's pass the is balanced. So let's spell that balanced. I think it's just balance. Yeah, so balance, and let's leave this open for now. And what we want to do here is create some test string. So I'm gonna call this str, and we can just create a string like this. And I'm gonna go here until the Hackerrank website and copy this. All right, and we can paste it here. All right, so we have string, so we can go ahead and pass in str. All right, so based on Hackerrank, this is a valid balanced string. So we should get true for the outcome here. So I'll cross my fingers and let's run this, and that actually returns true. Okay. Next, let's try the other one. So this one should return false. So let's go up top and let's paste this here and let's run this again. So that returns false. So that means that our algorithm is working. I'm actually quite shocked that I got this to work like this, and it actually looks a lot more simpler than some Java code that I would probably write. I'll copy this and just go back to playground and let's paste this here, right? Okay, and let's try this, and this should print out true. All right, guys. So we have successfully at least learned something today. I have learned something. You guys have learned something. The first thing is that Kotlin doesn't care about semicolons, and I'll just prove that right now. Okay, so no semicolons. When you want to return something, you have to pass that in after the meta definition, and for any type that you want to create, you have to specify the type. I realized that too, that you don't need the new keyword, because I've seen this before. This is new to me, but I've seen this in C#, so not too new. The when is actually new to me. I've never seen any program use when before as a keyword for a switch statement. The rest of this are pretty much normal. This just acts like the unary if statement, right? If else statement. And everything is the same, and the code it looks pretty clean to me, even though I haven't here I would written some other method that would check for an opening and then return a close, so that we don't have to put everything manually like this, but it still works. Okay, so I'm pretty glad about what we've accomplished today, and maybe in the future, once I get comfortable using Kotlin, because I really want to start using it more. It looks very simple and very clean. So once I get used to it, maybe in a couple of years, I'm going to start making much heavier tutorials on Android development. Alright guys, this be it. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good night. Bye bye.